Hello, my name is Carl Surrey, and this is a video tutorial for the Facebook group fans of Serif software. In this tutorial I want to look at boosting the colors in an image using the hue saturation tool. And this is an image which I took of a shell and some beach huts behind. It's okay, but it is lacking a bit of color. Now I'm going to show you two different ways to do this. So what I've done is I've opened two versions of the same picture, and I will show you both ways, and then we can compare the two. The first way is just to add the hue saturation tool, which can be found in image menu, adjust, and you come down to hue saturation. You can also do it, as you can see here, by the shortcut of holding down Control and Shift and then H. But as I'm here in this menu, I will do it from here, and then the tool box will open up, and you've got the hue slider, saturation slider, and the lightness slider. I'm only going to be altering the saturation slider. I'll just move this over slightly. Right. So I'm going to move the saturation slider to the right. I'll move it up to about 30 or 40, let's go 37. And as you can see now, the colours have already started to boost. And I will go just slightly higher still. Let's go up to about 50. Now, as you can see, the colours are getting better. The only trouble with this way is the more you boost the colours using the saturation slider, it does add noise. I don't know whether you can see this on the video, but there's some noise starting to turn up here in the sky. If I lower this back down again, hopefully that noise has gone away. So it's a sort of juggling how much colour you want to add, but also add some extra noise into the background. So what I'll do is I'll just go up to 40, and there's not so much noise visible, but the colours are better than from the start position. So I will click OK, and then that is that version completed. If I go back to the other image, now this is pretty similar way of doing this, but in this way what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this layer, this image, into another layer by just going to duplicate and then click OK. So I now have two versions of the same image. Now this top layer, I'm going to go up to the effects menu, come down to blur, then down to Gaussian blur. This will open up the Gaussian blur box, which also just has a slider. Now you can alter the amount of blur. Now what you want this to be is about 8 or 10 on the Gaussian blur ratio, radius, then click OK. Now obviously we don't want a blurred image, but what we can do, if we come down again to the layers display area, and on the blending mode menu, if you go to color, click that, the image will not be blurred anymore. The colors will be showing through from the image layer below, but the blurred effect will, I don't know the science behind it, but it sort of does help stop the hue saturation tool from adding noise, or so much noise. So again, if I now go up to image adjust, hue saturation, if I take this up to 40 where the other one was, okay, so very little noise and the colours are much brighter. But I will now try and push this a bit higher, and I'm going to go up to, say, around the 70 mark. So as you can see, there is still not very little noise added up here in the sky area, but the colours are much better, or depending on your taste of course, but are much stronger than in the other version. So I'll click OK on that, and then if I just hop between the two versions, one that's at 40% more colour, and that's at 70% more colour. And in fact, there's even at the 40% one, you can see there is noise up here in the cloud area. But if I go back to the 70% one, but with the Gaussian blur added on a layer, there's almost no noise up here in the sky area, but there is an awful lot more colour. So as you can see, using this version with a duplicated layer, adding Gaussian blur, making this layer blending mode colour, you can then use a hue saturation tool much more strongly than you could just using it by itself. I hope that has been of some help. Thank you very much.